Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 27 of Quattroporte, the review series for the sports saloons and of course also super saloons of Gran Turismo. And in this episode we're featuring a bit of a strange car, to be completely honest, mainly due to its status on the game. It's the 2010 Jaguar XFR. The first full-on Jaguar Super Saloon for a number of years before its release. And the reason why it's strange is because despite being a 2010 model and a relatively new car to the game, not only is it a non-premium, surprisingly and strangely, but it's also, I would say, one of the worst modelled cars in the game. It's actually worse, I would say, than some of the other non-premiums that were already on the game since GT4 and GT5. The graphics on this car are appalling, especially from the rear door towards the back end of the car. The graphics are truly awful, to be completely honest, on this car. However, for those of you who perhaps don't care so much about the graphics, and I can understand that for the most part, I'm not overly bothered either way when it comes to track cars. But for those of you who don't care, what does it still have to offer? Well, it's a Jag, for a start, and Jags are known for being powerful and quick, at least in a straight line. And this is a Jag Super Saloon, designed to take on vehicles like the M5, the E55 AMG, etc. And it does that pretty well, to be completely honest, because the kind of cars that it goes up against share many of its common traits. Generally supercharged engines, big power, big torque, and generally quite a lot of weight. On the matter of weight, though, this is a pretty heavy car. Even for a luxury super saloon, it's heavy, tipping the scales at 1,460 kilos after the full weight loss package. That's seriously heavy. 1.5 tons with the race spec weight loss is a lot of weight to shift. Now thankfully it's not on its own in that category. There are some other heavy saloons like the Dodge Charger and the Chrysler 300C, but it's something to be noted. Now it does have a 5-litre supercharged V8 which puts out 800 horsepower and just over 700 pound-feet of torque fully tuned, which does kind of make up for it. That does allow it to still put out a pretty respectable 548 horsepower per tonne and sit at 591 pp, both of which are not to be sniffed at all, especially for a car of its weight. Now, as far as when I'd recommend using this car, or for those of you who do decide to use it, if you plan on using it as a top speed racer, I'd actually recommend it for the 575 pp level, because if you add a lot of weight to the car but leave the power at 800 horsepower, you can actually get it to have a top speed of over 250 under its own power at the 575 pp level, which, although isn't necessarily the fastest car at that level, is still a very good car for that level, for top speed racing, that many people won't expect to be as quick as it actually is. It's also very strong under draft, being capable of over 290, easily 300 with NOS, and especially with less weight. As far as track use, well, to be completely honest, I don't use this car as a track car. It's, as cool as the car is, it's just not designed for that. It's one of those cars which can hustle around the track if necessary, but it's not really happy doing so. It's a little bit too big, a little bit too bloated, and just a little bit too luxurious, to be honest, to be a decent track car. It would be kind of like trying to make a Rolls-Royce Phantom or a Maybach 62S into a track car. It can be done, but it's never going to have the innate ability of something like an M5 et al. So you can use it as a track car if you want, but I wouldn't really recommend it. I'd recommend it as a top speed racer, or just as a cruising car to drive for the fun of it. Now, as for who should buy this car, to be completely honest, I would say 90% Jag fans. If you're not specifically a fan of Jaguar, or this car at least, I wouldn't really recommend it, to be honest, because although it's not a bad car, it just can't really compete with many of the other super saloons. It's just too heavy and too cumbersome. The handling is good, for a car of its weight, but it will never be able to outmaneuver something like an M5. So it can be done. Again, it goes back to that analogy of the Rolls-Royce. It can be done, but I wouldn't really recommend it. In a straight line, though, it is very good. The acceleration is strong. Off the line, a little sluggish again because of the weight, but it gets there pretty quickly compared to other four-door cars. And to be fair to the car, in a straight line, it can outrun most of the other saloons in the game. There are a few which it can't, like perhaps the Charger, which does have a significant power advantage, and of course the Mercedes C63. But it can give pretty much anything else a pretty good run for its money. The M5, the 300C, the Mercedes E55, etc. It can give them all a pretty strong run. The price, though, is pretty high. 120,000 credits, which isn't surprising for a Jag. They're all pretty expensive. So overall, for a car which doesn't have very good graphics and not particularly amazing track handling, I would only recommend this specifically for Jaguar fans or for someone who just has all of the obvious saloons and would like to try something different. But that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.